This morning, California Senator Alex Padilla attended Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem's press conference and interrupted to try and ask a question, and then this happened.
And what they have tried to insert
Secretary, I want to know why you insist
So I want
on
to say thank
exaggerated and embellishing. Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to know
hands up.
how many of our ICE agents have been docked.
On the ground. On the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
If you let my hands go, put them behind my back.
All right. Cool. Other hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand. While I was waiting for the briefing with General Guillot, I learned that Secretary Noem was having a press conference a couple of doors down the hall. I came to the press conference to hear what she had to say, to see if I could learn any new additional information. I was there peacefully. At one point, I had a question. And so I began to ask a question. I was almost immediately forcibly removed from the room.
So, conservatives are saying that Senator Padilla is acting as though he's above the law and thus deserved the reaction of law enforcement, and also that as a relatively unknown senator, he's not wearing credentials. Security was justified in treating him like a security threat. And progressives are calling it an act of authoritarianism or fascism. So let's start with the ground rules. Senator Padilla was not invited to the presser. Secretary Noem was not taking questions since he was interrupting the presser. Security was doing their job by removing him. He's not really as famous, and so security may not know that he is a senator and shouldn't take his word, just because he's saying as a senator, they should not take his word on that. Secretary Noem does not have to take questions, and she has the right to remove people from the room who are interrupting her presser, especially if he was not invited. Interruptions by protesters who are acting in bad faith is very common, and disrupting presentations is a common tactic used by protesters. So, security in this case is probably primed to default to removing any disturbances. So, as an example, here's the famous "Don't tase me, bro" guy asking a very disruptive question at a John Kerry event at University of Florida in 2007.
Also, were you a member of Skull and Bones in college with Bush? Were you in the same secret society?
That's all right. Let me answer this question.
Excuse me, were you arrested? Whoa. Help! Are you kidding? You're arresting me! Don't tase me, bro!
Now, this guy was being a lot more disruptive than Senator Padilla and had been talking for some time when they started removing him. But notice that John Kerry is still in good faith trying to answer the question even as he is being pulled from the room. He came off as the reasonable guy in that situation. It's not illegal to attempt to ask questions during a press conference, even when the presenter is not taking questions. Senator Padilla is not breaking any laws here. The senators carry a constitutional power of oversight and investigation, and you could argue that asking Secretary Noem a question, he is just acting in his role as a senator of California. These events happened inside a federal building where everyone has been through security. No weapons are allowed. He does not pose any security risk to Secretary Noem. He is not a random member of the public. And he was speaking for less than 5 seconds before they began to pull him out of the room. In fact, they started pulling him out so fast that there were no cameras able to turn and point at him before they started pulling him out of the room. So there's no footage of him actually asking his question. He resists being taken out, but there's no indication that he wanted to get any physically closer to Secretary Noem. He did not rush the podium. He only tried to stay in the room so that he could continue to ask his question, presumably, I'm presuming. But that's the only indication that I see. And yes, the security guards may not know who Senator Padilla is, but Secretary Noem definitely does. And the reasonable thing would be for her to have either taken the question or asked him to wait to the end before she allowed security to drag him out. Just for fun, because I happened to see this movie last night, here's the most reasonable way that this could have played out if everybody in the situation were sane.
I'm very curious about this drug, and I wonder if you've...
After I'm through, Dr. Sayer, if you wouldn't mind.
Excuse me.
Well, as I was saying...
Hopefully that was the most reasonable take on the internet. See you next time.